Well, hey friends, happy day! Well, I'm out here under my fig tree. As you can see, she's filled in quite nicely, and it's the 1st of April. I know that you're probably like me, pretending that it's still March so that you can stick things in your garden and pretend that it's not going to get hot anytime soon. So it kind of slipped my mind that April was upon us, but it's definitely time for me to share with you what you can plant in your garden this month. So we've got a couple of new things, a couple of things that are going to keep being our consistent standbys throughout the summer, and a couple of last chances at a few things holding over from the first of the spring planting. In addition to that, I'm going to share with you, last week I mentioned that I had a dilemma with one of my beds, and so today, after we chat about what you can plant in April, I'm going to take you along to check out what that dilemma was, what I did. So let's get going on this list. First of all, we've got Jerusalem artichoke. We've got last chance at basil. Now, most of our last chances kind of mean at the first of the month, and some of them are throughout the month. So it's kind of up to you and your microclimate how you plan that out. Definitely, if you're doing basil, we want to do it from transplant. Then you've got a last chance at lima beans, snap beans, first chances at yard long beans, and your yard long beans are going to go out into the summer with you. We can keep planting black-eyed peas. You get a last chance at carrots, a last chance at sweet corn, but there's some other corns that are more for flower or popping that you still have a little bit of time to plant. You get a last chance at your standard cucumbers, but you can continue planting your Armenian cucumbers throughout the summer, along with you can also still plant eggplant, a last chance at you can continue planting jicama for a little bit. So jicama, and then you can do Armenian cucumbers. I mentioned that. All the melons, honeydew, cantaloupe, you name it kind of melon, you can continue doing it for a hot minute. It's okra time, and you can continue doing okra for a hot minute. Then we've got a last chance at green onions, a last chance at peanuts. Peanuts is probably one thing I'm not going to get in because I'm trying to stuff potatoes in late, so I don't know where I would put peanuts at this time. You can also get some more peppers in, some pumpkin transplants, sweet potatoes. I planted my first and probably only sweet potato slip this week, but you can plant them for a hot minute in the next coming months. You get a last chance at radishes, last chance at summer squash. You can still plant winter squash, sunflowers, tomatillas, last chance with tomatoes. So I know I told you that you had to get them in March, but if you haven't and you've got some nice looking transplants, go ahead and get them in here at the first of the month in April. And then you can also do watermelon. Now, a couple of things that you might want to think about putting on your list is making some plans for shade cloth, unless you have a lot of microclimates that you worked on throughout the fall and winter. You also want to think about adjusting your watering schedule. Right now I'm not making too big of adjustments, but as we get into the more consistent 90-degree days towards the end of April, definitely going to be watering in the mornings and in the evenings, and I hand water. So you do what you do based on what you've got going on. Then you also want to adjust your fertilizing schedule. It's real easy to get off track and not fertilize as much in the fall and winter, but now when we've got these fresh plants in here, you really want to get on some type of system. If that's what you do, that could also just be compost teas and the very basics, but you want to definitely adjust that feeding schedule. So let's pop over and check out that dilemma that I had going on with one of my beds. If you've been around a little while, you might remember that when we first moved here, all my trellises were going that way. The raised bed's always been there since we got here. And then I had a straw bale right here where you can kind of see what looks like soil. And then there was a straw bale right here. And this straw bale stayed the longest. It's the one that had the watermelon coming out of it. And this one, we did something different with them before we were moving, and then when we got here, it just really kind of broke down fast. So when I tried to start moving this bale, it appeared that because grass had grown through the plastic liner that I laid down, so it seemed to me that I couldn't get it to move, that it was kind of just melded into the ground. So I was like, whatever, I'll just put compost on top of the straw that's left there, and I'll plant in it, you know, and go on with life. That was long before I decided to make this a bed. So this is, you know, kind of another sheet mulching experiment that happened, you know, a couple months after this bed over here. This right here is actually something from the compost. I'm surmising that it's watermelon because I did dump some compost from the freezer into this area when I was doing the sheet mulching. So obviously stuff is already growing in here. Now, the other day I came over here because I kind of forgot about this dilemma that I have, and I'm like, okay, I put a tomato over there and I put a pepper here, and I was coming to plant. So I got my hole going and I start digging down. Let me get down there a little bit more and hold back this kale. So I start digging down and I'm like, la-da-da, la-da-da. And I get all the way down there, and I don't know if you can see that well, but there's that plastic liner. So, you know, this is about maybe 4 inches deep to my knuckles. So believe it all or not, all of this stuff here is growing in about 4 inches of straw and a little bit of compost, if you can believe that. But the problem now lies is that something that really needs a deeper life, like a tomato, needs to have this plastic barrier gone. So that's what I'm gonna be tasked with today, because, you know, obviously if I'm gonna use this bed, I gotta get to work on it. So what I'm gonna bring you in on today is my effort to, because the peas, you can kind of see these peas over here, which some of those may be coming from the bags on the other side, but especially with this week that we're about to have of 90-degree temperatures, the peas aren't gonna stay around with this. So I'm gonna pick as many of the peas as I can, and then some of the top parts of the pea plants, I'm gonna actually cook those. I'm hoping that they're gonna be a little bit more tender than the bottom shoots, because you can eat pea shoots in a variety of different ways. The rest of this will go into the compost, but I'm looking to eat and use as much of it as I possibly can. So I'm gonna share this process with you because I'm gonna try and save some of these plants, because I really liked the idea of them still being here, because I'm probably gonna lose, you know, at least 2 garlic. But if I can, because think about it, like if this is compact like this and it goes straight down and the plastic's there, that gives me a belief that I can go down there and just maybe lift these plants up, set them to the side, finish preparing my area, either put them back or put them somewhere else. So that's what we're gonna do today, is we're going to deal with this problem head on so that we can make this a growing area that can go well into the future without having to deal with that plastic layer that's down there. So I believe the thing I'm going to do first is go around and pull back the mulch, and then I'm going to start trying to lift away as many plants as I can between the kale and the Lacento kale and this dwarf kale is what I really am caring about trying to transplant. And if I can't, then I'm just going to cut it and I'm going to clean it and I'm going to throw it in the freezer. And I still might cut some off of it first just in case this is not a success. But I'm going to bring you along with this as we take down the peas and we get this area ready. So that's what we're doing today. So I'm going to kind of use these trays as needed to maybe set plants on. And instead of killing my back, I'm just going to get down here on my knees. This is going to give me a chance to get some weeding done too. Okay, so I'm going to pull this mulch back. And of course I've got my little helper here. So you can see pretty clearly when I pull the mulch back where the line of the bale is. I'm not playing right now, babe. Here, look. Yep, it's a stick. So This is, because that's what I did, is I kind of just mulched around the bale. And there's like the plastic. So the plastic comes all the way to like right here. Right here's the edge of the plastic. So that's what I'm saying, is I almost believe that I can just probably come in right here. Get my feet more comfortable underneath me. And let's see if the plastic's right here. Then I think I could just come under here. Hey, back up. Look. You want a stick? It's a good stick. Well, I'm gonna lift the plastic a little bit more, because maybe it has, yep. Looks like it has grown through the plastic a little bit. So I'll just lift that up. Like that. And now come back on top of the plastic. And just lift her away. Boom, just like that. And okay, so maybe I'll use another one of these to put this, because this is awesomeness. This is compost and straw. So we want it to come back into this area. Now again, I'm gonna go underneath here. Oh, tore the plastic some. Just lifting that root away some underneath. That's not gonna be good for you. And then I'm gonna just come in here and scoop that plant away. Get some more of this. So this is turning out to be a little, I mean, there's a little bit more to it than I thought it would be. Because like I said, I really didn't think it was going through the plastic. But other than that, as far as seemingly getting to save some of that kale, that looks like that's totally doable. So I'm gonna just keep going here. And get back under the plastic. It'd probably be even easier with my hoary knife, so. Because then I can lift. There's another one right there. This good stuff over here. This is kind of getting into some of my leaf mulch, but we're still kind of keeping with the line of the plastic. So this isn't going to be as hard as I thought. So that's very cool. So I'm going to, instead of taking you through all the steps of this, I'm just going to get it knocked out, bring you back once it's done, and show you how I put it back together. How does that sound? So this is fun and exciting, and we'll get to see what some of this garlic looks like, and then we'll take down all the peas and get this bed reset to plant. And I got it done. I'm so proud of myself. I got it done. So it's funny, all the peas look like they're still alive, but they're not rooted really anymore. So, but I got all the plastic up. You see, it's right there. Maybe a little piece here and there got torn, but it got pulled away too. And so this is all the matter that was on top of the plastic. So I just worked it back into the space that was there. And now I'm gonna top this off with probably some compost, a little bit of raised bed mix, and plant in it. And then, you know, as I get ready, because I'm thinking about doing either corn or wheat in this space right here. So after I get this spot set, then I'll pull back this mulch and do the same thing that I did over there on the other bed, and that's you know, drop some compost and mulch and plant in it. So I'm super pumped. I got all these kale plants out. I don't necessarily think I'm going to put them back here. I think that I'm actually going to put them over here, because this bed is kind of in a little of an anomaly, because it gets some sun. So it's got a good sized deal right there, and that's a Mizuna. That's supposed to be those little romaines. So I think I'm going to bring some of that kale over here, and then maybe stick one or two in a bag of its own. But I did it, and that's what counts to me. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed what you can plant this month in April, and I hope you got some tips and some ideas if you ever run into a dilemma like I did with that bed. Otherwise, friends, I hope you have the best day ever, and I hope that your garden is growing so good. Until next time.